it recording now?
It is recording now.
Are you ready for it?
I think I am.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
No, you've
But
reset
the good thing about this is at least no, because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bit of a tester. At least I know I might be able to do recordings on the road now in future. Well, in fairness, it's probably a podcast that we've been thinking about doing for a wee while, though, is it?
Well, you've been reluctant to get me on.
I have. Because I don't. Yeah, the last thing I want you to do is come on and start moaning about how how bad it is. But in fact, well. 19.
Joey's very nervous. He's restarted the camera 300 times over there.
Because I'm
Look at you, you're never flustered.
I've never been nervous about it before. I think it's more because it's you than anyone. I've never been nervous
crack on, let's get into it.
Right, let's go. And I don't want to look at the laptop too much. No. Anyhow, 19 years old was the first trip. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I do remember it. Very well. Living at home with my mum.
Yeah. Baby on the way.
Baby on the way. After 8 months of being together.
Yeah.
Nerve-wracking.
Moved back to Aberdeen.
I was in college. Then we had Ollie, and you continued to still go offshore. And I do remember that trip where took you to the heliport and you forgot your passport and we had to race back like Michael Schumacher in the Fiat 500.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
You got all the way there, and then what happened? You tried to check in.
No. What happened was I went in. No, I got out the car.
Mm-hmm.
What you literally drove off.
Oh yeah, I remember getting called back.
Oh, my passport, threw my bags up in the air. I don't know why I threw my bags because I was going to need them again anyway. Chased after you in the Fiat. You must have turned around or something and looked at us.
I don't know. I think I got to the roundabout next to the airport. I don't even remember.
No, you didn't. No, you would know because I remember you were still in. You were just coming out of Scotia, and I was chasing after you.
All I
remember must have turned
around
and looked.
is you getting in the car and saying, "Put your foot down," and we bombed it all the way back to my mum's house. I don't know how I didn't get a ticket with a baby in the back.
Yeah, because that was
yeah.
Because that was actually the second time I forgot my passport.
Yeah, when you got locked out at my mum's and you had to get a locksmith.
And that was my second trip offshore.
That was the second time.
And the only reason I didn't miss that chopper was because there was a power outage on the platform.
That's good.
And
that's pure luck.
And it was pure luck. And I remember that was terrible actually. I remember having to call a locksmith at 6 o'clock in the morning. The locksmith came.
Pay a hefty amount.
Paid £100 actually.
I think it was more than that.
No, it wasn't. It was £100, which is quite a bit back then. And it's not as much now, obviously, but
you did try to climb through the bathroom window, which is on the second floor.
And the neighbours came out, thought I was breaking in. Because I remember that actually, to get back in. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt this show, and I really hope you're enjoying it. One thing I'm going to ask you, if you're listening to it and you're not liking, following, or subscribing to it, could I ask a massive favour that you do? It really helps the show, it helps me bring in more people, and it helps me get more stories out there, which in favour brings more stories back in. Let's get back to it. But I made that flight because the locksmith gave us a drive to the airport. I remember calling up the manager at the time saying, like, I've locked myself out, blah, blah, blah. He said, right, okay.
Was this the same company?
Yeah, that was when I first started.
Oh, my God.
And then, and he said, right, the chopper's been put on hold because there's no power. And I called you back, and you were in Qatar at the time.
That was a lot.
You'd be on holiday with your mum.
I remember.
Yeah, fucking hell.
With a 7-month-old baby and a 14-month-old.
No, that wasn't because neither one of them was there then.
Oh, was it not?
No.
Oh,
not at all.
I don't remember that.
How long did it take you to get used to it?
Get used to being offshore?
Well, you weren't offshore, but when I was offshore,
offshore life. A few years.
Really?
Maybe 2 years to fully get into it. I was only 19 when you went offshore.
That's true.
And I was still at college. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 2 years.
No, you weren't at college when you were pregnant with Ollie.
Yeah, I was, because I had really bad morning sickness and my mum had to come pick me up so many times, and then I just gave up. And then we were counting on you to pull us through, which clearly you have. Then we moved to Banbury.
Yeah, we
moved to Banbury. Yeah. You continued to work offshore.
Yeah, well, I'm still working offshore now, so it doesn't really change, does it? Let's be honest.
And then, settled in Banbury, and then we popped out 2 more.
3 more.
3 more. Yeah, we've got 4 kids. I forget that. I do forget.
Obviously, it's easy for me to say because I always leave you at home.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it like saying goodbye from the start
to now?
Like when obviously originally, because you've spoken about this a few times. Originally,
I would be heartbroken. Like, I would be crying at the door, and I'd be really depressed for like days.
But was that more because of the fact that
it's just the scare? Yeah, I had 2 under 2. They were really young.
You were really young.
I was really young in a new place. You went offshore. You went offshore when we had Lily. You went offshore after a month. So I had, I had 2 under 2 and a newborn.
Yeah, that's when
that was horrific.
I went to the States.
Yeah, that was awful. I remember that.
Yeah, in the Gulf of Mexico. And I came back and you must have been off on one and you painted the whole kitchen.
I painted the kitchen hot pink.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was having a moment. But from then till now, I think it's much better because they're all at an age where they're a little bit more independent and they don't need me as much. So I feel like I've got a little bit of a life back, and I'm working as well. So that's a little bit of a break, obviously having a breathing space. But now it's a big cheery wave at the door and off you go.
It is strange how much
it is. It's changed. Yeah, it has changed a lot.
There's far less calls from.
I used to have breakdowns all the time, and that's normal. That's something people don't really talk about though, because they don't want to be vulnerable. But it's so hard.
What? When I go, do you mean like being left with?
It's not even the physical. This is what I've got notes on my phone. It's not even the physical labor. It's the mental. It's remembering everyone's clubs, everyone's school lunches, what they've got on, getting the dreaded phone call. It's me that gets it. If one of them's sick, my work, I sacrifice. It's all that on one person. It's a lot for one person to take. And what dreads me the most is when you're offshore and every morning I get the message, how was your morning? How did it go? Well, if you've seen me leave the camera on, or you've seen the ring go off, I've gotten out the door, it's successful. But when I see that message flash up, how was the morning? I go red.
Why?
Because it's annoying. You're offshore eating your breakfast that's been prepped for. Wait to go on shift. Well, I'm fucking shoemakering it down to the school, and then I get a message if even they're 2 minutes late. Why were you late today, Lisa? You try and do it and see. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I give you that actually, especially when you consider the morning routine.
The morning routine is like military. Yeah, it is carnage. Yeah, but it is better now that they're older. I'm not going to get. Yeah, it is much better.
I do have a lot of respect for you in that regards, looking after 4 kids. But that's why I always say to you, as long as you keep them alive when I'm gone,
exactly.
I think that's
but you have come to terms with. I do keep them alive, but a lot of shit breaks in the house when you're gone, and you come back and you've accepted that now. If it's not door handles falling off or doors coming off the hinges or our lovely 7-year-old smashing our kitchen drawer up, then you just learn to accept it that you've got to come home and get it all fixed because the kids are still standing and the dogs are still walking. So
that's actually one of my questions actually, because obviously, as I'm sure people will see, there's a laptop in front of us, but obviously people always talk how easy my routine is, and to be fair, the routine is there. Like I think that's the good thing. The one good thing about offshore is there is routine, and it's the same thing every day. It is. But
it is like that at home as well, though. When you're gone, that's the difference.
Until the weekends come.
No, and until you come back.
And then what happens?
My routine kind of shifts, doesn't it? Because you're coming back and things change. Every trip you go away, like there's different activities on, or the timings change, or the kids are at different. It's hard to explain. You always suffer when you come back because you just don't know. You don't know your role. Yeah. Things have shifted. As in a massive shift is when obviously I've been a stay-at-home mum for how many years? Was it 11 years? And then I got a job, and that was a massive shift, not just for you, but for the kids as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's been the making. I think that's really helped me a lot mentally. And that's made me have a lot more respect for you and a lot more understanding of money because you actually have to work for it now and not just get it handed to you. So yeah, but I also need to take into consideration that offshore is not easy. You're stuck on a platform or a boat for months and weeks. You don't get to do anything. You do the same thing every day. And before, I used to resent you because I feel like I was so stuck at home.
Going on holiday.
What?
You should say it's always going on holiday.
I do feel like you do go on holiday, and I think some wives and stuff will resonate with that. You get your cooking done, your cleaning, your laundry, you go on shift, you guys clock out. You do your 6 to 6, you do your 7. I don't clock out. We mentally do not. Even if we go to bed at night, we're the default parents. If something goes wrong, it's on us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's difficult. But I think over the years, I've learned to work on that and not get so angry when you do come home. And I do give you that adjustment period. And I don't expect you to just come back and get straight into it. Because before that was a massive thing, which no one talks about. Everyone acts like, oh, their husband's home. It's all hunky-dory. It's great. But it's really not. I spoke to a few wives and it's hard. And it must be hard for you guys too, because you've been away for so many weeks. Like I said, things change.
I think it's the feeling of being out of place. And when I come back.
The only people that greet you are the dogs.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thank God for the dogs. Like, to be fair, they are the only ones that are excited when I get back. I think that's got worse actually with as the kids get older, because I feel for them, like obviously we both come from oil and gas backgrounds. Your dad was offshore
when I was so young. I don't remember it.
So you won't remember it. My dad went away during his trips, but like it wasn't long trips or anything like that. But I do wonder how it impacts them at times. Mm-hmm. But I think also because they're so resilient, Like I see it now. Obviously, Paddy gets a bit upset before I go, and Alfie prior to that.
Alfie not so much now though.
No, I know he's got a lot better. Like dealing. Whereas Ollie and Lily, it's just become, I guess, because they've grown up around it from now. Well, Ollie's 13, Lily 12 years. I guess.
They know they can do what they want when you're away, because there's only one of, well, not do what they want, but it's a lot easier to get
doing what they want though, is it? Like
it's a lot easier to get away with stuff, but that's a hard part as well, that I feel guilty when Paddy's crying in bed at night for you and you're offshore, and if I tell you that, I feel bad that I'm telling you that. But then I also feel bad for myself that I've got to try and settle him, and what to even say to make it better is just it's hard.
Yeah.
But over time, I think that's something that they will adjust with.
I think a couple more years, and he'll probably, well, not a couple, maybe a year or so, and he'll be once he's Alfie's age, he'll be out at that stage. I think that's.
But then again, every child's different.
That's very true, and he's more sensitive. He's
a lot more sensitive than the others. He actually has feelings. Sometimes, actually, when he's not threatening to knife you. So, do you think
I understand enough of what you go through when I'm away?
No,
I didn't think so.
Honestly, no. I mean that in the nicest way. No, until, and no offense, until it's like when someone's passed, or you've lost someone. Until you've gone through it, you don't know what it's like.
No, I know. But yeah,
to run the house, to be in charge of every little thing at home. You see how hard it is when we're both at home. As in last night. Do you want to let everyone know that you had a little bit of a break-in moment last night when you were doing the clubs?
Moment. Yeah, no, I didn't have a break-in. It was just coming. I came.
It's exhausting, but you had
relentless.
You had from 9 to 3 on your own. You did a dog walk with your mate. Or what did you do yesterday?
No, I didn't do dog walk.
Well, you had your own time from 9 to 3. This is where I get really pissed off, as they say. In the morning, like I'll get up, I'll do the kit. It's normal life, though. I do get that. I'm not the only one going through it, but I'll get up, get them ready, sort the dogs out, go to work, straight from work. I'll pick them up, come home, feed them, do the dogs, go out to clubs. Some nights I'm not getting home till 9 o'clock. You've seen last night. It's exhausting.
I know. I do have an awful lot of respect for you. I think as I've got older as well, I think I've matured more. Obviously, in the early 20s, I think, and I'll take my hat, like I always take my hat off to you, how much you had to deal with. And the other thing is we don't really get help. We've never had help from, parents or anything like that due to, geographical situations. So I think in terms of sometimes, like when I went to Nigeria for 3 months.
My sister came over a lot and helped. She was, honestly, without her, I probably would have jumped off the tee, honestly.
Because Lily was only a few months old.
That was horrific. That was hard.
Ollie was a year. Yeah, Ollie was a year old.
The Nigeria trip, which was 13 weeks.
And it was just under 3 months.
3 months. Yeah. And the Israel one that you've done not long ago.
No, the one that made that worse is that was during COVID.
The Israel one?
The Israel one, that was about...
No, it wasn't. It was coming to the words... No, because you were...
It was towards the end of COVID.
That was probably my worst trip. And I remember it so well because I remember one morning walking into the kitchen and Weetabix had been smashed everywhere. Not just Weetabix, milk everywhere, swimming in it. I just remember getting their wetsuits on.
That was towards the end of the trip, because I think that's when you had the breakdown and sent us a message saying you're going to have to come home, because I think I was about 7.5, 8 weeks into it. And to be fair to who I was working for at the time, they got us home. I asked for a change out and they did get it. So in fairness, I was out there for 9 weeks as well, so I don't think they were going to have too much of an issue about it. But I do remember that one actually, and I think hard. When I came back, we were at each other quite a lot after that trip as well, I think.
But that's another thing. See, when you go away and the guys go away offshore and they do a long trip, I do feel like it's harder to adjust when you come back. You've been away from that person for so many weeks. And like I've said before, things change. I feel so disconnected from you when you come back. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be spoken to because I'm so overstimulated from just being the default parent for so many weeks. And another thing as well that people don't speak enough about is, do you remember when you used to come home from offshore? I used to be unwell for 2 days. I used to crash. I used to have migraines. I couldn't get out. I used to be so unwell because you're running on adrenaline, and then obviously you're coming home, so the weight's been lifted.
Yeah.
But not so much now. I feel like obviously as they've gotten older, it does help. But for wives and families that are in the thick of it now and their kids are young, it is so hard. And you're in the trenches now, but I am one to say it does get better and it does get easier. I think it does get much.
Yeah, I noticed that just from when I'm coming home, because and you also feel less needed by them when I've come home.
Yeah, you notice everything.
You're less needed by them, which means there's less pressure on you to make sure you're changed. We don't have to change our kids anymore.
And another thing, this is another thing as well we've never really spoken about, is obviously you're a contractor, so you have to work to get paid. We don't get the luxury of having a salary every month. So if you don't work, we don't get paid. So when you get that call to say there's work coming in to you, that's like, great. There's money coming in. We've got this. To me, it's like my heart sinks, and I'm like, right, I've only got so many days in my head and like left of another person here to help with this, what needs done. And I'm making all these lists in my head. It's like, now I'm on quite high alert that I know you're leaving next Wednesday. So what, I've got six days left. So what needs done? Who needs what can I, because you're going to go away for 4 weeks. And it's just that still doesn't go when you say you're going away. My heart does drop a little bit. And I do get really anxious the 1 or 2 days before you go. But as soon as you walk out the door and I wake up the next day, it's like I'm straight back into it.
Yeah, it must be a maternal thing, is it?
It's like the switch goes off and I know it's survival.
That and experience.
And surviving. Survival is...
But that was worse when I was doing more oil and gas. So obviously now I've shifted into a bit of both. And I was getting calls like, oh, can you go in 3 days? Or can you go...
Yeah, that was hard.
Or can you go tomorrow? Or things like that. But when we had a year or so ago, when we had that 5 and 5 rotation, do you think that was better?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It wasn't a way, but then it wasn't.
I think from a multiple of things, the thing that...
The safety of security, of having the money coming in,
knowing you were going to go in. Yeah.
Being able to plan things, that's a massive thing.
That was good as well, actually. I did appreciate that. But
I don't appreciate what we have been doing for the last 2 years, which has been you pissing off offshore and saying, oh, we'll book a holiday. You're offshore, I'm at home, and we're trying to agree on a holiday. We're sending each other links and not agreeing and booking it like 5 days before we go. That is pure stress. I hate living like that. Not being able to book things up.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually so shocked that we've planned Orlando and we've actually got a date set. Normally you like to book it a week before. But it's nice to know that...
Yeah, but we have to book things a week before sometimes because I can't book something too far ahead and pretend I think that's
a massive...
That is the crap thing about it.
That's the worst for me, I think. Not being able to plan.
At all. I know obviously we've done this year, but I guess we're doing it because it's a once in a
lifetime holiday
for them. Like,
also another thing is obviously your busiest time is the summer.
Yeah.
And the summer for me is they're all off school. I'm working. I work Monday to Friday. So it's finding the kid, like getting them into their clubs, picking them up, like making sure, like last summer when they were at their clubs, and you did a lot last year. You were offshore for quite a bit this summer.
Yeah, I think I did 200. Yeah, I did 200 days. Yeah, I did, because I did nearly 6 weeks at the start of it. And then I did 7 weeks just out. I did 3 weeks at home, but I was home for 3 weeks in July, wasn't I? And then then I did a 7 week trip straight after that.
See, summers for me are hard because I know
it was harder last year because we had the week extra long holiday as well.
Yeah, we had 7 weeks. Also, because when you're away, they're in school, they're locked up, they're fine, they're safe. But when it's summer holidays and I've got Alfie and Paddy that are at their camps because they're younger, and then I'm at work, and then I've got 2 teenagers at home that my phone's ringing constantly, shit's going down, the Ring camera's buzzing every 2 minutes, people are coming in, I don't know who's coming in, noodles are getting burnt on the fucking stove, and then I'm worried my house is going to be cremated when I get back, like things like that, because there's so much going on because I'm solo in the holidays and you're offshore. And then, how's your morning been? Has it been okay? No, it fucking hasn't. Stop asking me the same question every single day. But you know what? And I've never said this to you because I don't want to pick you up a bit, but I have respect for you going away, and you miss out on so much. You've missed out on birthdays, which is a massive. The kids hate that when you miss out. You miss out on school events, nativities, sports days. You know what I mean? One thing we are grateful that you do not miss Christmas, because that's a massive one.
I think that's the perks of being a contractor. Yeah. But I've said that from the get go. Like,
Christmas is important.
Christmas is important because obviously I think last year I missed three birthdays.
Sacrifice for going on holiday and knowing you're going to be back at Christmas. So you take some and you lose some. And this is what, speaking to some like other partners that work offshore and getting their thoughts, they think exactly, we all think the same. You sacrifice for long term. I know if you do so many days, you're going to be home at Christmas. We're going to get to go on holiday. Yeah. We are very fortunate that we can take our kids away and we can do these things because you work offshore. Because life is expensive.
Especially when you look for kids.
It's mega. So these are things like, because there's a lot of people say to me, oh, why doesn't you just get a job on shore? Like your life would be so much, but it wouldn't, because we probably wouldn't be able to do what we do. And do you know another thing as well? When you're at home, you're at home. You can pick them up from school and take them to school. You can take them to their clubs. If you did a normal job, 9 to 5 or whatever, I think we'd be more exhausted than what we are now, because we'd be tapping each other out.
And there's a lot more, and it wouldn't be it's never a 9 to 5, is it either? No. Because, you know, you've got your driving time
overtime
on it.
As well.
Yeah, overtime, or if there's anything extra. Yeah, I do think.
I do moan about the offshore life, but I personally couldn't see me living any other life right now, as of what stage we are with the kids.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing because of the stage of the kids. But I think it's a sad reality of life as well in some perspectives, because like I have missed loads with them, but at the same time I've seen so much.
You've made so many, do you know what I mean? Like, how many times have we taken them to Turkey? We're waiting to go to Orlando. Like, we do loads with the kids and try and make up for that. But I just feel like when you come back from offshore, it's go, 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 because there's always things needing done. People, it's chaotic either way, really.
What do you think I could do better when I am away, though?
When you're offshore, just be maybe a little bit more understanding and sympathetic when things go wrong, probably. But you have actually, when I told you about the door off the hinge and stuff like that, like you didn't really react to that.
To be honest, I think that's come with time now.
Yeah,
I think it's a maturity thing you've got. I've realized that
no one got hurt. No one got hurt. I mean? It's fine.
Yeah.
These things
I think the one thing, and I think it's almost like a bit of a nightmare I've always had, is if I got a call and something had happened, especially if
that's never happened in 13 years. Touch wood. Yeah.
Obviously the pregnancy, once I had to come home early because we thought you were going into labor earlier.
Oh yeah, and oh shit, did I get in trouble for getting you home early?
It was 3 weeks. So you got us home, and then you never had the baby for 3 weeks later.
Do you want to tell everyone about the time that you were offshore and I was telling you need to get your ass back here, Paddy, when I was due Paddy number 4, and you were on night shift.
I was onshore at the time.
But you were on night shift, and you flew back a day before I was admitted to 9 Wells.
Yeah, no, I do remember that one.
You were falling asleep at my bedside when I was going through labor, and I was like,
nightmare.
I wanted to gouge your eyes out with a knife.
No, I do remember that. And then we still had the 3 to
that was hard,
carry around at the time.
Yeah.
But that was actually, that was probably the closest call, was it?
Yeah, that was bad.
Came home.
Yeah, and then I went in the next morning. You came home that night and I was in the next morning.
I know, I remember.
And you were thrown into the deep end with dealing with a 1-year-old and Ollie and Lily. Don't know how old they would have been, 7 or 8, 6 and 7?
6 and 7, I think they are at the time.
But yeah, that was hard. But then, hey, you made the birth, so some people aren't lucky enough to even make it home. So that's
true. What do you think? What's something you wish offshore partners talked more about openly with each other? What do you think would help them? I know it's really bad. I keep looking down at this. I was thinking about this question earlier.
What do you mean?
Well, what do you think? What do you think helps the relationship? Because obviously,
me and you, as in what?
No, just in general. Like, if you were to give advice to people, say someone who just started going offshore and the partner was struggling at home with it, or whatnot, because it's the early stages. Because we have had, we've been together. 15 years since we were 18. So it's that.
There's been many times where you've almost moved out.
There has been many occasions where it's been at that point. But for some, I guess
communication is massive.
Yeah.
You don't like to communicate. You don't like to talk. But over the last year or two, I think you have gotten better at talking about your feelings and things that you could change and we could both work on. You have. And that's massive. But advice for someone that's in it right now is if they've got kids, it does get easier. When you have young kids, it's so hard. Where my life was back then to where it is now is night and day. Like, it's just, it's crazy.
I guess it's sticking it out and
it makes me realize that
it will get easier.
From when I used to cry at the door when you would leave to now I'm like, bye! Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't bother me. And do you know another thing now? I've gotten to a point, do you remember we used to fight when you would get a call to stay longer and then you'd phone me and I would go absolutely off on one?
That actually happened 2 years ago and you went off on one because I was asked to stay in it. Yeah, I was asked to stay an extra week and you
must have been during a summer holiday.
No, you were working at the time. It was during the summer holiday.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, I know. I do remember that, and that causes a lot of bother. Like, I think we were fighting for a wee while after that. That doesn't help when we're at each other when I'm offshore. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, but I don't think we really fight when we're offshore. And you're offshore.
No, we tend to just
I just ignore you. I can't be bothered.
It's not really me ignoring you because has there ever been a moment though where you think you just can't do it anymore?
Yeah.
More than one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has, definitely. Not in the last year though. Then again, it's because the kids are, and I'm working, I've got my life back. Before I was just at home, and that is so hard. And I salute any mum that is going through being at home with their kids, because that is, hand on heart, the hardest job in the world. Going to work is like a breath of fresh air. When I walk back in here, the stress just immediately hits me in the face. you know what I mean? Like, it's just constant, isn't it? It's just
every day I come back in here
it's hard. But yeah,
although between 9 and 3 during the school, there's no stress.
That's another thing. No one's, do you know what I mean? Resentment is massive, because for me, when you turn around, this is what really grates me. When you say to me, "You chose to work," that's what you say to me. I need to work. I want to work. It's good to work. We had this conversation in the car today.
I know.
Because I resent you when I'm walking out the work to go to school, drop them at school and go to work. You're just dossing about, meeting your mate for a coffee, doing a dog walk, doing a podcast. And I come home at 3. I'm exhausted. Why are you exhausted? What the fudge are you doing?
It's not when you come home at 3. It's when you come home at about 4 or 5 after work.
Because I'm busy.
Because it's carnage. Because the thing is and we'll get it today, because like it's the one odd day you had off. I mean, what is it? It's 2 o'clock now, so it's peaceful at the moment. The dogs are sleeping right there and all. Yeah. But in literally an hour and 20 minutes,
they're going to come home.
It's going to be an immediate stress pit again. And there's activities today.
No, there's not.
No, there's not
the
activities
weather.
Today,
So we're
in a. How long's the readjustment period when I come home?
3 to 5 days. No, honestly, I would say that. But what about for you? What's it like for you when you come back? You struggle when you come back.
Yeah, I do.
I find
but I know myself I'm in pain, like I'm a nightmare.
Yeah, I wish you could come home, not tell me you're home, go stay in the Premier Inn for a few nights and then come back once you're readjusted.
No, because you're not readjusting if you went and stayed in a hotel room. You're not really readjusting, like, you're still in the same kind of period. You're on your own.
But this is something that husbands and wives, partners, whatever, probably don't speak enough about as well, was that how do they feel when they come home? To just how we feel. Obviously, we feel overwhelmed, exhausted, overstimulated. We want to be left alone. But then for you, it must be scary, because, like I say, things have changed when you come back. So you're coming into you don't really know what. Because we could go offshore for 6-7 weeks and things do change, routines change.
It's harder when you do the long trip, like that 7 weekend I did last year, and I came back. I took a while then to readjust. Mm-hmm. I do remember that. But I think that was also because I did about something like, at one point I'd done about 13 weeks in out of 16 or something like that. I'd been away. Yeah, it was something ridiculous like that. Yeah, that was it. I think that was, and I really struggled after that. But then I did take quite a big period off. But then it was like one of them where I think it got towards, then you took 6 weeks off, and then you were nearly ushering me out the door at that point to kind of go away. And I did go.
Yeah, see, that's another thing as well. You just,
if I'm at home too long, you struggle.
Yeah, of course I do. Everyone does. That's what wives that I've spoken to that have husbands that work offshore, they're the exact same. They're like, oh God, it's time to go now. You just know. But then for someone that hasn't got a husband that works offshore, they're like, that's really weird. But it isn't. It's our weird. It's our life. It suits us. And unless you're living it, you don't know it. Yeah, so for people to judge really annoys me.
I think that is the thing.
Don't have an opinion if you don't know and you haven't walked in our shoes.
And the other thing is like you say, if they don't know, then they can't say. But what people also forget is if you have an office job, a 9-to-5 office job, you're not in the house all day. No. You leave earlier.
Yeah.
And you get home later. And that in between that period, if say you get home, I don't know, 5, 6 at night, you're only getting about 2-hour period around everyone. Let's say, for example. And then the morning period. So really, on that whole day, you're probably only spending, let's say, 4 to 5 hours around the family. Whereas, like with myself or like people that work offshore, you're up with them in the morning. You do that whole period up to 9 o'clock. Then obviously, if you've still got kids at home, then you're with them for the whole day. And then in the afternoon, you go pick the other kids up. You're with them again for 4 or 5 hours after school, because you're with them literally from 3:30 right through till bedtime again. So you are always, especially when you weren't working, you are always around each other.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Oh, no.
Do you enjoy being at home more now that the kids are all in school and nursery? No, not nursery, all in school. Because before, Paddy would still go to nursery, but it would be like you'd have like a 3-hour window to get all your stuff done and then you pick them up again. Do you appreciate your time more, or do you think you took for granted having the kids at home when you were at home? Because like you said, you spoke on earlier.
I think part of me regrets a bit that I took it for granted, because as kids get older,
They don't want to be around you.
Be around you as much.
All they call you for is money and food.
I know, especially the older. So the older two, they're not really interested when I go away or even when I come home.
They do miss you. They do ask. Of course they do.
I'm sure
Ellie does ask. Yeah. Lily, it's a different story.
He doesn't care about anything really.
But
I'm a bit resentful of myself. Maybe that's because of an age. Maybe that's a totally different subject, though, isn't it? Having kids at a younger age, you're far more immature. For men, maybe not. No, definitely not for female. I think women's a different. You're far more mature. But there is a part of me that regrets taking the amount of time I had at home for granted. Like I think, and even with Alfie and Paddy, although it was different scenarios at home a lot more during COVID.
Yeah, I remember that.
I look back at videos now and I'm kind of like, I'm delighted as well though that we did do things. Yeah. Like I did a lot more with them because I was at home during COVID. But that's fine. Sorry,
I'm checking my notes that I've not missed out. There was stuff I wanted to say. I bullet pointed it down.
Yeah. Right.
Another thing as well, it's the emotional side of you being away. You forget like how lonely it can be at night, having to be strong because there's no one else to tap you in. That's another thing that I struggle on. Having that person there, if I'm unwell, I still have to get out of bed and I still have to do it.
I think you had COVID once when
I was unwell.
I had COVID once when you went away.
I was on a hen do and that was allowed. How many times have you been away?
Actually, I remember that. That was a 5-day period when I remember that as well.
I was in Greece.
That was a difficult week. That's when I kind of I'm not gonna lie. At that point, I turned around. I think when you came home, I was absolutely relieved. I think I went offshore for a holiday after that.
Yeah, I probably did. That's another thing though as well, going back to being lonely and stuff. I used to really struggle with that when the kids were younger and I used to be isolated because it is isolating being at home and not having anything to really, like my job. I love what I do, like getting up and going out to it and coming back and having that, and you feel like a weight has been lifted because you feel like you've had time for yourself. You're getting away from it for a little bit. But when you're offshore, I know if there's a problem at the school or something, it's me. And that just, but even though when you're here, to be honest, you don't even answer your phone to the school. They still call me. There's been many a times that they've had to phone me a few times. Because you're too busy doing a podcast and your phone's on Do Not Disturb.
One time I got a call and I missed it because I was on a podcast.
You had to go pick up a child at school.
What's the best duration of being away and being at home? What's the ideal?
Well, if we had to have a set rotation, 4 and 4.
Yeah, I agree.
I think when you get to the 3rd week, you're tired. Oh, it's fine. You can do another. The 5, anything 5 and over, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think I think that's even goes for offshore as well. I think 4 weeks is quite good, depending on your distance as well, though.
Don't get me wrong, though. You could go away for 4, come home for a week, and then go away again. A big, a quick bam, thank you, ma'am, and off you go. So that's easy,
I think that's one thing maybe people probably take from this conversation. Then is obviously when kids are younger,
it's hard as hell, and you're in the trenches.
Before school age,
100%. When they go to school, you can breathe. You can actually breathe.
Yeah, I think.
But that's horrible. Don't get me wrong. I loved being at home with them, and I was so fortunate enough that you worked offshore
and
that
you
I could
were
do
at
that.
home for that whole period, which is the best period. I think 1 to 5 is the best period in terms of kids really being dependent on you.
I can say
obviously after that
I'm very fortunate enough that you work in offshore, which I'm really grateful for, has given me the opportunity to be able to be at home with each single all 4 of them and spend all that time with them and give them everything. But it's now, no one talks about now how hard it is. I feel guilty. You feel guilty that you would miss it when you're away, but when I'm at home and I can't cut myself in 4, I feel horrendous. I feel guilty that I can't always watch Ollie play rugby. I can't always make a party because sometimes there's parties on at the same time and there's one of me. It's just that comes with a whole different aspect of feeling guilty. Like that's hard. And it's just sacrificing, isn't it? Like I look forward, and like now I know, big girl pants on, you're going offshore next week, and I'm just gonna have to put my head down and glide through the summer holidays knowing that we're going to Disney because that's in the back of my head. Do you know what I mean? That we're going.
But also it's just because we just come off the back of a festive period.
Yeah.
So that is probably when we've been around each other consistently for like the last, up until when did they go out to school? Yesterday.
Yeah, that was
so like 2.5 weeks, like so, and then prior to that I was home for a week or so. But yeah, I think if there's anything people will probably take from this is it does get easier after 5. Then would you say?
Yeah, 100%. It does get easier.
And don't have more than...
And you need to communicate... Don't have more than 2 kids. You need to communicate as well massively, because that's something you haven't done over the years and you've gotten better at it.
Yeah, but that's with age, isn't it? I think that's maturity and experience of maybe starting to be a little bit more humble in that regard as well, and realizing that I don't know everything.
No. Yeah. Don't ask me how my morning's been every day.
No, I'm not going to.
You have to stop doing that though.
But I was actually doing...
What?
Remember we did that thing offshore actually a couple of trips back where we used to go into... That was the group of us that were offshore. And one of the guys said, just jump on ChatGPT and ask her if I would send you those ChatGPT messages.
Oh my God, yeah, those stupid quotes. That was pissing me off even more than the actual message, yeah.
What are you most proudest about? I mean, normally I say in someone's career, but in this regards, I guess you can say your career if you want, but in terms of not suffering, but getting through being that stay-at-home, yeah, you.
What are you
proudest of?
Doing it, surviving it.
Yeah.
And coming out the other end, because like I used to call you crying my eyes out and screaming at you on the phone, hating my life, begging you to come home. And now it's night and day, really, isn't it?
No, it is.
But it's just honestly, it's surviving it and doing it. I'm proud that I've done it. And you know what? I've done it alone. I've never had help.
I know. To be fair, I think that's one thing you have to always take your hat off to.
I know.
Like when you're older, is that you've always done it on your own. There's been no parents really to call on.
Don't get me wrong. If there was a crisis, like my mum or Stuart or Natalie and stuff, they would come and help. But majority of the time, like I don't have anyone to tap me in or tap me out. I'm so resentful to families that do have like grandparents that can come in and...
Resentful or jealous?
Jealous, sorry. Jealous.
Maybe resentful.
Yeah, jealous in a way. But then I chose to move to Dundee. My family are all in Aberdeen, which is a good hour and a half away. But that's a sacrifice that we made for our family, and it's turned out to be the best one that we did make. So... Well,
that's true, yeah. Well, that and we needed a bigger house.
We needed a bigger house
because... it was cheaper down in Dundee than it was in Aberdeen.
We were due to have Paddy, and we were in a 2-bedroom house, so he was going to sleep in the wardrobe. Wasn't he?
I remember.
That's another thing as well that we haven't really spoken much about, is that when we moved down here, you went offshore quite quickly when we moved in.
Yeah, I know. I was only home for a couple
And then I had to adjust to a new place.
And the kids
with 3
went to school,
kids.
yeah.
I was heavily pregnant. We got a big fat Labrador. Like, it was just hard.
The other thing you probably speak about is obviously when Alfie in the early years, into nursery and stuff like that, you know, potentially, obviously we're waiting on his diagnosis for ADHD, but dealing with that on your own.
That was hard.
A lot of the time. It was bad enough when I was at home to help out. Yeah. So, I mean,
for parents
through that
are going through it now and have child with ASN, I totally can
thankfully
relate.
With age, it has become easier.
If I could see it, like I've been at soft plays recently. It just happened actually a few days ago when I was at Fun Parks. I saw a parent who had a child. She had 2 children, and one definitely had ASN, and I recognized that straight away because obviously I've been through it. And I just wanted to go over and hug, like give her a hug. But before, I would probably judge and be like, "Oh, that's just a mum, doesn't got control." But with over time and maturity,
after being that mum, that everyone was judging.
Exactly, you learn. So for anyone that has a child with ASN or not, and you're alone,
and they're on your own,
you honestly, it will get better. It will get easier. Just stick at it. Because there are a lot of pros more than negatives about being offshore. I think so, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. I would never.
We wouldn't have the lifestyle we had if you didn't work offshore.
100%.
We wouldn't.
No way.
We wouldn't be able to.
No way. And even now, when we speak about it now, because obviously it's getting to that period where I'm starting to think, you know, to try and come away from it, because ultimately.
Oh God, you're nowhere near that. Not now. I know. Not yet. No.
But one day I want to come away from it.
And so do I. I would love to have you at home for a little while now again. But but being honest, you know what I mean as well. What's more important?
Do a part-time offshore job.
What is more important? Buying all your kids what they want, or taking them away and spending that time. That's what we spoke about the other night. I would rather give my kids holidays and experiences rather than the latest Nike trainers or do you know what I mean? That means nothing. And do you know what? Our kids are quite good. Ollie's quite, like, our kids are not like that. Really, only Lily's a bit of a diva. But I would rather spend our money and take them away and do stuff with them. And that's what they know. Dad's working offshore, so there's always something at the end of it. Like now we have Disney to look forward to, which is a once in a lifetime holiday. So you better get the fuck offshore. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I feel like you have to have little things to look forward to, or else you're just living.
I think that does help out because we
work to live. What's the saying?
Yeah, live to work.
You need to have a life as well.
Yeah.
I think over the last few years, but then again, that comes with the kids getting older. We're happier to do these things because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's much easier for us.
Easier now.
And enjoyable.
Just
Maybe not for you, but for me it is.
The traveling. But
you must love traveling alone offshore to come and travel.
God, what a difference. I remember one of the trips we went to Turkey, and it was when Alfie was younger, so it was really difficult, wasn't he? He really suffered with being in
sensory
and all that.
That was hard. We almost cut our holiday short and came back.
Well, I remember that first one, because he just couldn't settle at all.
But then that's not fair on other kids.
But I remember thinking about the traveling side of things. So obviously I was traveling, I think at the time I might have been traveling to Taiwan or something like that. And I remember thinking to myself, God, it's way better traveling offshore than it is on a holiday.
When the M&Ms burst.
All over the airport. Yeah.
And you walked away and left us just looking at the M&Ms.
Yeah, because it was about €15 for that one bag of M&Ms.
And then he peed his pants. Yeah. See, things like that. We don't have any of that now. So life does get easier.
I think that's one thing to take from it, isn't it? If you are a couple and it's hard, and you're thinking about, going separate ways and stuff like that, and you're at each other, I think you've got to find, because but we also live in a world where it's easier just to knock on the head. You always say this. Yeah, well, it is. It's easier to knock on the head.
Yeah, but we don't. You can't judge people that aren't together.
No, you can't. No, I'm not saying it that way. Obviously, people have got their own reasons, but I think as humans, we want it far easier. And if it's easier just to do that than it is to pull through and try and, get through the other side and maybe come out, stronger, which we've done a fair few times, I would say now.
Do you know another thing as well about talking about that is, this is going to sound really bad when I say this, but I know partners will think I thought the same. Sometimes I wanted to not be with you to have the break on the weekend without my kids. I dreamed of you taking them away for a few days and shutting the door and I'd be on my own. That to me is so blissful. But now I know, the days are hard. Some days are harder than others, but I couldn't imagine not doing it with you. But there are most days that I couldn't imagine. But do you not think as well, have you never once thought, has it never crossed your mind, like this really isn't working, maybe we should go our separate ways? But then for you, this is another thing.
I think it's more like you're going to think that I'm going to think that, because when I come back, like, first, I never fit in when I first come back. I think I struggle with that. And I still do. Longer trips I do. But the last couple of trips I haven't been too bad, because I did that 3-weeker.
Well, we came back. On that, were we?
Actually, no, that was actually a little, it was a bit difficult, because I was only home for 4 days and then went away and did 2 weeks. But after that 2-week trip, just before the festive period, I found it really easy going away for a short trip and coming back to adjust than it was when I went away for 7 or 6 weeks or prior to that. Then coming back, it was far more difficult to readjust, because so much can happen in the space of over a month.
But you know what, as well, what I find is that you don't know what a life is without me, but I have a life without you when you go, which is awful to say, because there's times where, and I'm just going to be as honest and raw as possible, but there are times where I've really come close to saying, right, I can't do this anymore, Joe. Your job's really taken over, but I want to go our separate. I've even spoken to you about this. Because as sad as you haven't experienced that, like, it's hard for me to get in and out each time you come back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm adjusting to you coming out. I sometimes take bad, because hand on heart, when you're away, things run smoother, and you struggle to accept that, but it does. It does run smoother. I think because everything's done your way. The kids know the routine. They follow. Do you know what I mean? They just know.
Yeah.
But when you come back, that's what if I could. That's one thing I would change. You could just come back, and there was no readjustment period, and you could just swing back in and slot back in, which no human being can do that. We wouldn't have any issues. So I've accepted, and I think I've got better at that you do have an adjustment period. I'll give you max 3 days, 5's pushing it. And then...
depending on what shift I've come off, if it's night shift.
That's another thing. Oh my God, the sleeping in front of me, falling asleep would piss me off. But you know what? We've come a long way. I didn't want to bring this up in the podcast, but there's been 1 or 2 times where you got a bit merry on the way home and I've picked you up stinking of alcohol, but you've not done that since you were in your 20s. That's maturity as well. That is disgusting. For any man or husband or partner that thinks it's acceptable to come off that rig or vessel and drink till they're intoxicated and come home to their wives and is absolutely disgusting. Because you learned that day you were going to get the locks changed on you. That was like, that's just not okay. But then that comes with age.
I know. I was young in my 20s. You were young. Stupidity, like, to be honest. You
just wouldn't,
now I wouldn't. No, I definitely wouldn't now. No way. I think, has come with understanding as I've got older. That is unacceptable. And you're totally right. Yeah. And obviously,
that's probably the worst thing.
I think it's unfair as well. I think it's unfair, especially if you've got kids. Obviously, if you're coming back and it's just you and your missus, it might be a different scenario. But if you're coming back and you've got kids that don't understand, first of all, what being intoxicated is, and also don't understand why you're coming back in a different kind of
manner,
personality to when you went away. I totally agree, and I say that as well. Like, it's just not worth going home in a state. If you're going to do it, have a couple of beers, but don't rip the arse out of it.
Yeah, which is fine, which you do. I'm not saying don't just go drink Diet Coke and water. For God's sake, you've been locked up for 4 or 5 weeks, but don't come home to the point that you can't string a sentence together, because I'll feel knock you out.
Yeah, no, but that's not true. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah,
there is some guys I know who go back in an incredible state, and
disgusting.
I think, especially ones I know they've gone home with kids, and you think to yourself, it's selfish, is it? I guess, but I guess that's maybe part of being offshore, in that selfish kind of mindset of looking after yourself and not really getting yourself switched back to reality, because it's two kind of personalities, isn't it? You've got your offshore personality where you're up, regimented, doing your day-to-day thing, going back to your bed, doing your own thing, going to the gym, whatnot. And then obviously when you come back here, the routine is totally different. You're making your own breakfast, you're taking kids to school,
But that's another thing as well. I don't say it enough as well, but I can't even imagine how hard it is to be offshore. And I couldn't do 12-hour shifts every single day. You don't get a weekend, you don't get a break. It must be exhausting. But I do know, what I've learned over the years is not to feel guilty for needing time for yourself, because that's something we never used to do. We used to be like, even meeting a friend or going on a food shop alone, we felt like we couldn't do that because we needed to be with the kids, or we needed to.
Yeah, I know.
But over the years, if I want to go get my nails done or get my lashes or go meet a friend, you are allowed to do that. You're human, and you need time away from your partner and your kids. You do not feel guilty for that.
No.
And book your wife a massage as soon as she comes back from offshore. That's what I would say.
Thank you for coming on, Lise.
You're welcome.